Hi Taurus, welcome to your love reading for February 2019. This is Elizabeth from channelguidance.com and you are watching YouTube channel Channeled Guidance Tarot. Okay, so I already shuffled the cards for you and you did have one jumping card. Let me show you what it is. The card that jumped for you is the Nine of Pentacles. Now the Nine of Pentacles can mean that maybe there's some growing to do in a relationship. This can either be you or can represent your partner. This is a card of self-worth and self-love. And again, it can be you or your partner. Let's put it back and we'll see if it comes up again or something similar. Okay, this is a love reading for the sign of Taurus for February 2019. Your first card, Taurus, is the Seven of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Taurus for February. Knight of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Taurus for February. Ten of Pentacles. Love reading for the sign of Taurus for February. King of Wands. Love reading for the sign of Taurus for February. Four of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Taurus for February. Two of Wands. Love reading for the sign of Taurus for February. The Tower. Love reading for the sign of Taurus for February. Three of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Taurus for February. Nine of Swords. Okay, what's the most important message that Taurus needs to hear about their love life for February 2019? The card that you have, Taurus, is the Five of Pentacles. So the Five of Pentacles does represent perhaps someone is feeling really emotionally shut out. It could be that you're really struggling to understand what's going on with your partner. But again, it can also represent that your partner's not really understanding you. This is a card of suffering and sometimes even kind of feeling really alienated. We'll come back to this card to see how it ties in with the rest of the reading. And if you would like to get a private reading with me, Taurus, just go to my website, channelguidance.com, and again, you should be watching this on YouTube channel Channeled Guidance Tarot. Okay, so let's see what you have going on here. You have the Seven of Swords, the Knight of Swords, and the Ten of Pentacles. Let's take a look at that first. So the Seven of Swords can sometimes represent either deceit or self-deceit. Sometimes there are things that you don't want to see. Sometimes there's things that need to change that you really don't want to acknowledge. It can represent either you being your own worst enemy or your partner. You know, and I feel because you have the Knight of Swords there, I feel like something is changing there. I feel like maybe somebody was in denial. Maybe somebody was in denial about their feelings for you, because you do have the Ten of Pentacles, which shows there is love there. There's potential for marriage or potential for a long-term relationship. And there is something changing with the Knight of Swords being there. Again, the Knight of Swords means that something is changing very suddenly, very kind of out of the blue, like the Tower, which you actually do have in this spread as well. So again, with the Seven of Swords, there could have been some kind of deceit, either in a relationship. Maybe somebody was cheating, or again, somebody maybe didn't want to acknowledge their feelings for you or what you meant to them. That could be changing all of a sudden, and I do see a relationship here, or perhaps a marriage that maybe was on the rocks. Things are working out. The Ten of Pentacles does represent stability. So something is changing there where, again, perhaps there was deceit or self-deceit. King of Wands, Four of Swords, Two of Wands. So you have a fire sign here, which would be Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, male or female, sun, moon, or rising. And you have the Four of Swords next to that. So I mean, for some of you, because the Four of Swords can either represent that a relationship is being healed, which definitely would apply with what we have up there. Somebody's maybe finally realized that they just didn't want to acknowledge their feelings for you, or you know, they were in denial about your marriage, and perhaps they thought it could not be saved, but it can. So the Four of Swords can definitely represent healing. Perhaps the relationship is finally being healed after a long wait, because you do have the Two of Wands, which does represent delays in waiting. You've been waiting for a long time for a relationship to heal, maybe with a fire sign. You can also be the fire sign if you have a moon or rising in a fire sign. The Four of Swords, though, can also represent that somebody has asked you for some space and some time away, which would definitely tie in with the Five of Pentacles. suffering and feeling really emotionally shut out. Some of you, you could have had a partner that maybe moved out all of a sudden. I've been getting a lot of that on Facebook. People messaging me kind of saying, you know, they've asked me to leave or they just left. So somebody could have, you know, kind of walked out on you with the Four of Swords. And I feel like, you know, there's just an energy of waiting for them to come around. Of course, there's a point where you can't keep waiting. But I mean, like, you did have the Nine of Pentacles jump at the beginning of the reading. So we have to kind of keep that in mind. The Nine of Pentacles means that there's some growing to do. So for some of you, it could be that, you know, a partner maybe needs some time to figure things out. And perhaps they'll come to their senses with the Seven of Swords. They'll see that they were kind of, you know, they were in denial. There was something they didn't want to see about your relationship or their feelings for you. But again, I see healing here. Healing, just the need to kind of wait for that to happen. Now on this bottom row, you have the Tower, the Three of Swords, and the Nine of Swords. So, I mean, you have this really intense energy from the Tower, which usually does represent kind of a shock to the system, something changing very unexpectedly. You have the same energy as the Knight of Swords. And this could have something to do with a breakup, because you do have the Three of Swords, the breakup, the divorce card. For some of you, it could be that something happens in February where you're very worried about what's going to happen in your relationship. Some of you could be fearing, which would be the Nine of Swords, fearing that you're headed towards a breakup or fearing that you're headed towards divorce. I mean, with the Tower here, it could be that that changes very unexpectedly, because I mean, that would definitely tie in with the first two rows that we have there. And keep in mind that the Nine of Swords, this is not really, you know, a terribly negative card, but it does represent that you're doing a lot of worrying and a lot of stressing. But it also represents worry without merit. What you're worrying about is not really going to happen. So you could be worrying that this breakup maybe is forever. Like I said, this Four of Swords could mean somebody asks for some space, some time away from you. But it could also just be that somebody needs time to heal. Just, you know, expect your situation to change all of a sudden, very quickly, out of the blue. Like, what in the world just happened here? You asked for some space. Maybe you said you didn't want to be together anymore. Now this person's back. Because you kind of have that same energy at the top up there, with the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Swords. Again, you know, self-denial, like somebody's denying their feelings for you. Somebody maybe lied about something, or they're lying to themselves. But with the Knight of Swords right next to it, that tells me that that situation is going to change very quickly. Okay, let's see what other messages come up for you. Let me get a few more cards. What other messages are there for the sign of Taurus for February? You have the Six of Pentacles. Messages for the sign of Taurus. Eight of Pentacles. Taurus, February. You have, interesting, the Queen of Wands. Strong fire sign energy for the sign of Taurus for February. I mean, you have the King and the Queen. So, I mean, this could be that a fire sign is definitely very significant for you. Again, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Male or female, sun, moon, or rising. You know, I do see you getting what you want from this person, especially for those of you where it definitely is a fire sign. Again, it can represent you or someone who is in that energy, someone who's kind of very outgoing, assertive, very energetic, very self-confident. Those are energies of the King and the Queen of Wands, someone who really takes charge. It could even be that you need to take charge, especially if somebody is in denial here. So I do see you getting what you want with the Six of Pentacles. This represents you receiving, getting what you deserve. I mean, it is going to take some work here with the Eight of Pentacles. The relationship may not be perfect, but nothing ever is. The Eight of Pentacles just means you have to build your way up to reach this energy here, which would be a long-term relationship, if not a marriage. So I feel like for many of you, like, you could be really heartbroken over something that's happened. Maybe there's a separation, because that definitely ties in with the Four of Swords right here. But with the Knight of Swords and the Tower, I feel like this will change very quickly for you. Okay, let's see what comes up from the confirmation deck. What other messages are there for the sign of Taurus for February? Nine of Pentacles. Interesting, because this card jumped for you when I was properly shuffling. What other messages are there for the sign of Taurus? The World and the Hierophant. What's the most important message that Taurus needs to hear about their love life for February? Interesting. Two of Wands. You already have this message here right under the Queen. So for many of you, the only thing that maybe you can do right now, the best thing that you can do is wait. Especially in those scenarios where somebody has asked for some space, or you're waiting for something to heal, maybe something really painful happened in your relationship. The energy of waiting is strong for you. Just waiting, delays. It's just like you're waiting for things to fall into place. Again, this card is important as well because it jumped for you when I was properly shuffling, and now it's come up from the confirmation deck when I only pulled 4 cards. So the Nine of Pentacles does mean that somebody has a lot of growing to do. It can represent you, but can also represent your partner. This is about feeling good about the decisions that you're making, being in a good place within yourself. This is the key to a turning point, the world. This is the key to a new cycle in your love life. This is kind of putting the past to rest and just kind of moving on to a new chapter, a new era in your love life, guided by your intuition with the Hierophant. But this can also be leading you to the person you belong with, because the Hierophant does represent kindred spirits and soulmates. So for many of you, I mean, it could also be that there's a lot of growing to do. You need to close the door to the old chapter in your life in order to find this soulmate. For those of you that maybe you're not already in a relationship right now, but I mean, strong energy of a fire sign for the sign of Taurus with the King and the Queen of Wands. So maybe for those of you who are single, if you're meeting a fire sign, kind of keep an open mind. I do feel like for many of you, you're either going through a breakup, and you have 3 and 4 of Swords lined up here, or you're very worried that maybe you're losing a partner. Just keep in mind the Nine of Swords is worry without merit. What you're fearing, what you're agonizing over is not really going to happen. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a spread just for exes using this deck right here. You did have a jumping card, so I set it aside to show you. Let me just get these out of the way. And these X spreads that I do for you, they can represent either maybe a long-term relationship that you were in, a marriage, or even someone that you dated, where you just want to know if there's a chance you could get back together or start seeing this person again. Okay, so the card that jumped was this one, the Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups, I mean, again, we're asking about someone who's no longer in your life, and this represents a new beginning. And it jumped pretty quickly when I started shuffling. A new beginning, really kind of rekindling that connection. This is a really positive omen for you. Okay, so let's put it back in there. I'm going to put it in the middle. I'm noticing here that the Devil is at the bottom. This can represent negative thoughts, pessimism, perhaps something kind of really challenging that happened between you and your ex. Okay, show me the energies around Taurus and their ex for February. Justice. Show me the energies around Taurus and their ex for February. The Lovers. Show me the energies around Taurus and their ex for February. Page of Pentacles. Taurus and their ex. Page of Wands. Taurus and their ex, February. Nine of Pentacles again, so that's 3 times now. And the Eight of Pentacles, which was in the 9-card spread. So this is what we have. Let's see what this means for you. So, I mean, you have 2 major arcanas side by side here. You have Justice, you have the Lovers, the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles. So the fact that you're starting with Justice is really positive, because Justice does represent sometimes an apology. This could represent your partner maybe trying to make things up to you, trying to bring the relationship back into balance. It's a really positive card, just like that Ace of Cups that jumped for you. Justice is telling you things were not fair, but this can be an apology coming to you. And you also have 2 pages. You have the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Wands. All the pages represent communication, so there can, I mean, I definitely feel like for some of you, there's going to be some type of communication with your ex. Things may not be perfect, and that's something that I also said in the 9-card spread. It could take time. You did have the Two of Wands 2 times. It could take time to kind of rebuild the relationship, which is why this card here is being repeated. The Eight of Pentacles, it's going to take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe rebuild the relationship, which is why this card here is being repeated. The Eight of Pentacles, it's going to take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust back. It could take time to maybe gain your trust maybe if they're the ones who let you down, or maybe it's going to take time for them to trust you, or maybe you're the one who let them down. The Eight of Pentacles just means there's work to do here. You also have, I mean, the Nine of Pentacles again. This is the third time, because it jumped for you at the beginning of the reading, and then it came up in the confirmation deck, and then here it is again. So, I mean, I think this is really maybe the key to you and your ex getting back together is somebody just really has to grow. This is about personal growth and self-worth, integrity. Somebody being in a good place. Like maybe they can't really focus on their love life until they're in a good place everywhere else, especially within themselves, because this card really is about self-love and self-worth. And, you know, kind of all the decisions that they're making, they have to feel good about where they are. Maybe there's a lot of work to do there. But I do feel like there is, you know, there's communication around you and your ex with these two pages. Now, you have the Lovers card next to Justice. So, I mean, I feel like for many of you, there will be an apology. Someone perhaps will be explaining. Maybe that's why we have the pages explaining maybe why they did what they did, why they let you down. And the Lovers being here is showing me that you still have a really strong connection with your ex. There's still a possibility of not just getting back together, but of something significant, of your relationship continuing to grow. The Page of Pentacles is saying look very carefully at this. For other, I mean, there can be other choices. I mean, it's hard to say in a general reading, but to me, when I see the Page of Pentacles, this is a message to look closer. Maybe some of you need to really look at your ex to see, like, maybe what is it that you didn't notice before. Maybe you need to really see if, do you really want them back? Do you feel like they're worthy? Have they really changed? These are all things that come up with the Page of Pentacles. This is about looking deeper, maybe really studying your history with this person. Do you feel like there's a chance? Do you feel like they're going to do it again? The Page of Wands at the bottom is telling me that there can still be a lot of good times with your ex. This card represents change and excitement, good times. It's really light-hearted energy. But, I mean, you see it down here with the Nine of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. So, yes, there still could be a lot of happiness and good times and adventure, all of that with your ex. But there also has to be a lot of personal growth. Somebody has to be in a really good place. And there's also a lot of work to do with the Eight of Pentacles. But, I mean, it feels really positive. I feel like you definitely have something to look forward to. I feel like your hopes are not, if you're waiting, you're not waiting in vain. But I mean, I feel like it won't be, I just keep feeling like it won't be perfect. There's some personal changes somebody needs to make. Let me get a few more cards for you. What other messages are there for the sign of Taurus for February? Taurus and their ex, February 2019. Five of Swords. So let me put this here. Now, the Five of Swords can represent unwise decisions, and that's kind of strange that this card would come up because this card kind of has a similar vibe. For some of you, perhaps those of you where you have an ex who maybe has cheated repeatedly, or maybe not just cheated. That's not the only reason people break up, but it can be that a partner consistently lets you down, makes the same mistakes over and over and over. Be careful with that. Be careful that you don't make an unwise decision and allowing them back into your life if it's something just really, really toxic. But again, some of you may have other options as far as like another relationship, but that person probably would not come in until you let go of your ex, if that's what you want to do. The Five of Swords is, I mean, this can represent sabotage as well. Perhaps your ex sabotage, what you had together, this energy of the Lovers, of commitment, of a real future together. Perhaps they made, a very, very unwise decision in letting you go and cheating or whatever it was. And this could be what you need to explore with the Page of Pentacles. Let me get another one. What other messages are there for the sign of Taurus? Taurus and their ex for February 2019. King of Pentacles. So, I mean, this is your energy. I mean, of course, it can represent your ex if they're another earth sign. But, I mean, the fact that it's come up here, I feel like for many of you, it could be your choice if you're going to take your ex back. I mean, I do see communication. I definitely see a future here. I see an apology, but this could be that this will be up to you. Let me get one final card for you. What final message is there for Taurus about their ex, February 2019? Nice. 9 of Cups. So this does represent your wishes being granted. It also represents you being immensely happy. I feel like for many of you, like, you could get exactly what you want. That communication with your ex, the apology, with the Lovers being here, your future with this person can still be on track. It just seems like you need to take things slow. You have a lot of thinking to do depending on why things ended. And again, with the King of Pentacles showing up here as your energy, for some of you, this could be entirely up to you whether you want them back or not. Okay, Taurus, this has been your love reading for February 2019. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you again next month.